Facebook exec David Marcus calls WhatsApp co-founder a whole new standard of low class after scathing interview. The gloves are off, and Facebook's current and former executives are now engaged in an open war of words. The Facebook executive, David Marcus, published a lengthy blog post on Wednesday attacking his former colleague, Brian Acton, calling him a whole new standard of low class, and accusing him of working to slow down certain business objectives while he was at the company. The bizarre public squabble comes on the heels of an explosive interview with Acton, the co-founder of WhatsApp, who left Facebook a year ago. In the interview with Forbes, published earlier Wednesday, Acton broke with convention and spoke candidly about disagreements he had with Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and COO Sheryl Sandberg before his departure. Acton's interview also came 2 days after the surprise resignation of Instagram co-founder, whose unusual goodbye letter hinted at growing disagreements and tensions with Zuckerberg. The series of executive departure over the past few years has raised questions about Facebook's ability to retain talent and about the future of some of its popular products like WhatsApp and Instagram. There is a history of clashes behind the Instagram and Facebook success story that led to Monday's bombshell breakup. The Instagram co-founders' Monday night bombshell that they were resigning from Facebook has all the telltale signs of a bad breakup. But to people inside the organization, the divorce was a long time coming, even if the announcement came without warning. The photo sharing app was acquired by Facebook in 2012 and has flourished under the wing of Facebook. With more than 1 billion users and a fast-growing ad business, Instagram is considered by many to be Facebook's smartest acquisition and among the best deals in tech industry history. The success masked many of the tensions between Instagram and its parent company. The two cultures are very different with separate traditions and priorities. To Instagrammers, Facebook is a soulless corporate giant that happens to own them. Too many Facebook employees, Instagram people are arrogant, too cool for school, and not team players. After years of finding common grounds and resolving differences, the leadership of the two companies appears to have reached a breaking point this week. Exactly what triggered the breaking point remains unclear, but according to several sources that Business Insider spoke to, there's been a long build-up of friction between the two organizations. Instagram and Facebook's team work very differently. Instagram has an extremely heavy focus on design, with significant thought going into new product before launch, with the intent to perfect them before unveiling them to the world. Face- Facebook, in contrast, has a more iterative and data-driven approach, looking at what users are already doing and frequently making minor changes to the product. Kevin focuses a lot on visual feel and getting things perfect, while Facebook prefers iteration. Instagram design heavy focus stems from the top down. Systrom is into fashion while Krieger collects arts. When Instagram was rushing to get story product out the door in the summer of 2016, Krieger personally jumped in and built the neon effect pen that gives the features some of its distinctive flair, another source recalled. With the dough out of the picture, sources predicted ever closer integration between the two groups, with Instagram morphing from a semi-autonomous organization into a product unit within the Facebook organization. Although Systrom and Krieger were always careful to be diplomatic in public comments about the relationship with Facebook, the growing pressure from Facebook to integrate the two platforms was a long-standing source of tension that required them to push back at times and to acquiesce at others. The Justin Bieber stress test. One such area was advertising. Early in Instagram's history, its focus when it came to ads was high quality, glossy ads. At one point, Systrom was approving every single one himself, but the model couldn't scale, and Facebook pushed the company into integrating more closely with its own advertising business. Instagram employees were worried at time, but it ultimately in resulted in a sustained growth in revenue and profits for the app. Another early example was the launch of Instagram web profiles back in November 2012, shortly after Facebook acquired Instagram for 1 billion. Systrom was worried that it doing so could lead to spam on the platform, but Facebook pushed for it because of its potential for business and to grow the user base. At the same time, Instagram has benefited immeasurably from Facebook guidance and technical expertise. Prior to the acquisition, the social network would buckle under the weight of Justin Bieber, its servers crashing as they struggled to handle his millions of fans. It remains an open question whether Instagram could have succeeded the same way, recently hitting the 1 billion user mark without Facebook's help. Facebook and Instagram have clashed recently. There have been significant more recent clashes leading up to Systrom and Krieger's exist. Employees at Instagram felt they were losing autonomy as the two products became more closely integrated over the last year. One recent flashpoint: users can share photos from Instagram to Facebook, and historically this included an attribution line leading back to Instagram. But this was removed to the frustration of Instagram. Kevin has been super pissed off at Mark Zuckerberg, at an autonomous high-level source told NBC News. Interestingly, last week there was also a report from The Verge alleging that Instagram was considering a feature that would let users reshare friends' photos onto their own feed. Facebook initially declined to comment on the report and only later denied it was true. It's not clear what the truth of the matter is or if it played any part in Krieger and Systrom's ultimate exit. One source said they expected Systrom's recent paternity leave following the birth of his first child to have played a part in his decision to go. The departure of both co-founders simultaneously with no staggered transition period between them has alarmed some observers, but a source didn't think it was surprising that they jumped ships together. They have a really strong co-founder relationship. That's always been the case. Here's Marcus' full blog post titled "The Other Side of the Story." Today, Forbes published an interview of Brian Acton that contained a statement and recollection of events that differ greatly from the reality I witnessed firsthand. As a result, I felt compelled to write about the actual facts, for there are few companies out there that empower and retain founders and their teams for as long as Facebook does. Kevin Systrom and Mike Krager thrive at Facebook for 6 years, Jen Koum and Brian Acton over 4 and 3 years, respectively. For some of them, Facebook is the place that did their best work and had the most impact in the world. The main reason is because Mark personally shields founders from what typically frustrates them in larger companies, giving them unprecedented autonomy. This attitude towards supporting founders and their teams sometimes come at a cost to the company. For example, WhatsApp founders requested a completely different office layout when their team moved on campus. Much larger desks and personal space, a policy of not speaking out loud in this space, and conference rooms made unavailable to fellow Facebooks nearby. This irritated people at Facebook, but Mark personally supported and defended it. Second, on encryption, the global rollout of end-to-end encryption on WhatsApp happened after the acquisition and with Mark's full support, yet Jan Koum played a key role in convincing Mark of the importance of encryption, but from that point on it was never questioned. I witnessed Mark defending it a number of internal meetings where there was pushback, never for advertising or data collection reasons, but for concerns about safety, and even in board meetings. Mark's view was that WhatsApp was a private messaging app and encryption helped ensure that people's messages were truly private. Third, on the business model, I was present in a lot of these meetings. Again, Mark protected WhatsApp for a very long period of time, and you have to put this in the context of a large organization with businesses knocking on our door to have the ability to engage and communicate with their customers on WhatsApp the same way they were doing it on Messenger. During this time, it became pretty clear that while advocating for business messaging and being given the opportunity to build and deliver on that promise, Brian actively played the execution, never truly went for it. In my view, if you're passionate about a certain path, in this case letting businesses message people and charging for it, and if you have internal questions about it, then work hard to prove that your approach has legs and demonstrate that the value. Don't be passive aggressive about it. And by the way, the paid messaging that WhatsApp is rolling out now sounds pretty similar to metered messaging from my point of view.